Okay, so I play a lot of video games, like this one, Flower, platformers, and RPGs, primarily. Some shooters, I guess. I might sound kind of foolish, but I enjoy trying to find some kind of real-world takeaway from my time in these games. I think it's partially due to how I find gaming far more analogous to real life than what people give it credit for, at least the ideas that can pop up. They still deal with real-life problems, even if the scenario itself is rather outlandish. I think games can teach us stuff. More common in games like this one, I find my mind tends to wander. I believe that was the developer's intention, as you'll soon no doubt witness for yourself. You are then manipulated to understand the greater meaning behind the game. That is not simply just about what it was initially. Flying through the grass, tagging flowers in a beautiful symphony of not only sounds, but atmosphere as well. Most importantly, the game has soul. Something no Let's Player can do justice. The game needs to be experienced firsthand by the player to mean anything. It's a personalized experience. I won't tell you what this game means to me, because I believe people need to play it and figure it out for themselves. I also don't want to give away or make an impression on what you should be feeling. I think it'll be a little bit different for everyone who plays it, and I don't believe it would be fair of me to rob you of that self-realization. But I will tell you, this is one of my favorite stages in Flower, and soon has a dramatic turning point in how the game is initially perceived, and I think you'll pick up on it even though you're not even playing it, but like I said, I still think you should play it. Anyways, this is an extension of my thoughts on fairy tales and storytelling that I did yesterday. Some stories have been passed on for thousands of years. That alone is pretty damn impressive. I don't think just because something is old, though, that it means it's more valid. Take video games as a solid answer to a modern-day medium for the ability to teach people through various types of gaming different things, just as fairy tales once did, except now we can interact with and sometimes, like in the case of Mass Effect, personalize certain aspects of the outcome. How fantastic is that? We can create our own sub-reality or personalized fairy tale within a game and actually witness it with our own two eyes. 100 years ago, that was never possible. We live in an extremely fascinating time, and it's only going to get better, exponentially, especially with virtual reality finally becoming, well, a reality. To expand a bit on the Mass Effect idea, and maybe I'm repeating myself a bit here, but within many RPGs are a series of problems not unlike our own, which we can relate to as people. It's almost like living vicariously through another body and seeing an instant reaction based on your choices, then experiencing a possible result based on the narrative writers have chosen. Without actually suffering the repercussions of poorly choosing our words, you can explore multiple scenarios and draw on that knowledge later on in gaming or real life. I like to think people have a fairly good understanding that what you see and experience on screen is only a possible reaction to your action, and not one set in stone, just as it is in fairy tales and regular storytelling. I think it's possible to take even fictitious circumstances, such as those from video games, myths, legends, fairy tales, and apply them as a foundation to how we operate in real life. It's why storytelling is such a fundamental part of human society. It's sort of like a flight simulator for a pilot. We aren't necessarily flying a plane, but we are acquiring the skills to be able to fly that plane. In the same way we simulate problems so that in the event these problems come up, we can deal with them. I believe that similar experiences can be cultivated from video games. I'm talking life experience, problem-solving skills, reaction times, and independent thinking. I personally enjoy the thought experiments of figuring out the right words to say to multiple different personality types when creating social links in the Persona franchise, as an example. My belief is that if someone imagined it, it's probably a thing, at least a possibility, And that isn't worthless information, like Chie Satonaka, a meat-loving kung fu lover in Persona 4. I imagine there's at least one girl in the world somewhere that loves both those things as much, if not more, than this fictitious character. I'll probably never meet her, and even if I do, she might not, or probably might not be like Chie, but that doesn't detract from the fact I've added to my database useful information when dealing with personality types. When faced with adversity or an issue, we can, at least in theory, problem solve what comes up in our daily lives, even if we lack the experience through real testing. At least we can come up with a possible solution. So long as you are able to tell the difference between reality and the virtual world, it shouldn't matter where that information came from. I have never encountered a wolf, but because of cautionary tales and research, I can tell you for certain it's a bad situation. If Little Red Riding Hood taught me that wolves were bad and I lived due to backing away from instead of petting it like an idiot, then does it matter that I obtained that information from a fairy tale or not? The end result was a positive one. I suppose the take-home of what I'm saying is that relatable scenarios and information acquired from video games can translate to real-world experience if applied correctly. So, I don't believe in the notion that playing video games is a waste of time. I think it's a bit more complex an issue than to simply pass it off because it's a game. No one makes fun of someone for reading Game of Thrones, but it's fiction, it didn't exist. It's not real, just like a video game, but it can teach you something. Or watching The Avengers. Again, same scenario, but I have received comments that ridicule playing video games. And I don't understand how people view it as a lesser medium. If done correctly, like The Last of Us, you have something far superior to a movie. You don't play the part of Thor or Captain America when passively interacting with a movie like The Avengers. You're being taken on a tour. The Last of Us was done so magnificently that I can't even begin to talk about it. I could gush for hours. The point is, you move the plot forward. Even though the level design was fairly linear, I didn't feel like it was at all. Not once did I feel like I needed to go anywhere I wasn't supposed to go. The developers made sure it funneled you in the correct path through incredible game design and story progression. You are Joel. You experienced his pain firsthand in the opening of the game when the mushroom virus first broke out. Now it sounds like I'm talking about the Mushroom Kingdom. At least in my head. The plot twist, it was Princess Peach all along. That savage, that sexy blonde savage. Personally though, I'm actually a Rosalina or Daisy fan. Maybe it's because I've seen too much of Peach, or that I think she's an asshole? I mean, Zelda can fight back. She even helps you sometimes. Peach is really good at like 3 things: baking cakes, getting kidnapped, and being a cock tease. Like, really? Really? I went through countless castles to find you, and I only get a kiss on the cheek? Is there like someone I can complain to, like a customer service rep? Like Toads? The Toads? No? All you do is scream? All you can say is hello? Hello! Or is that what they're saying? Is they saying hello? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, thank you for listening to this. Whatever this was. I guess this is another talks. Anyways, thank you for listening, and take care.